Hello.
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 James Mason in the chat said that she was playing some GU earlier. Yeah, GU's super fun, but we haven't had a chance to do it for the channel yet because we wanted to finish Dark Souls first. And we've still got some of that stuff just sitting around in there.
There's a reason for it.
Yeah, but it should be very soon that it gets finished finally. At which point we could just explode into Monster Hunter for a little bit.
Into a different Monster Hunter.
Yeah, into a different Monster Hunter.
Login bonus.
Oh yeah.
So the Autumn Festival ended yesterday.
Yes, it did.
I made sure to get literally every possible thing on my Tony account, but my Megan account didn't get everything, but whatever. It was like I didn't get the low rank stuff.
Oh, also, if you can hear us, let us know. We just, want to make sure and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the Harvest Festival unfortunately ended yesterday.
But that means new things are in.
Yeah, but that does mean that new stuff is in, and obviously because I changed the title of the thing to it, it's Megaman armor. Oh, you fuck.
Yeah, she changed back.
How dare she? I'm gonna go change her again if it's still available.
I don't think it is.
I want to check.
I think
just
the
to make
Pookie
sure.
is, but she's not.
Yeah, it's not right that they give it and then take that one away.
Well, presumably.
Yeah. I don't even have the option for it anymore.
Yeah. Presumably,
so
I assume the reason is because they're going to add handler DLC items, and they don't want to just give you one for free because it would be too valuable.
Yeah.
But also, she's a human being, so it makes sense that she picks her own clothes.
Yeah, I guess.
As opposed to, I think the Poogie costume is supposed to stay.
Oh,
But it's
God damn it.
Poogie, if you put the Poogie in something, I don't think it knows how to take it off.
I don't think so either. We should probably point out that it's been about 10 days since we last did a stream.
Yeah, we intended our next stream to be the variety stream that we were talking about.
But then we kind of tripped over it twice and got really pissed off about it.
It's my work schedule. It's a big part of it.
They keep changing her work schedule, and it causes massive problems to everything else.
I keep walking into work and being asked if I can stay twice as long as my shift or stuff like that.
Yeah, it's really annoying actually, because Megan doesn't drive herself to work either. It's me driving her to and from. So it's I'll get up and get ready, and then out of nowhere it's hey, they just asked me to stay 4 extra hours. Hey.
Oh shit.
Nice. I appreciate that.
Is there gonna be regular music in a second?
Maybe we have to get in there and it'll start more Mega Man music. I don't know. We'll see. Give it a second. Just gonna go ahead and load myself up on drugs.
I forgot that there is a Murnos that just sits there watching you.
Oh wow, I don't have any max potions. I fucked up. I have mega potions,
well,
but I don't have
you're
my big
fine.
ones.
You only have 2 though.
Yeah, I forgot to get all my items back.
Is this a high rank mission?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at this tiny little Udagaron! He's so small, he's clipping through the ground.
Yeah, what the hell?
There it is. It's because the, okay, and he's doing real damage, by the way, despite his size. But it's because of the way that the ground is designed for larger monsters. There's a point of,
There's a step?
Yeah, there's an invisible step, basically, for big monsters. It's anything gray that you see, they can actually pass through, but then the brown is where it starts to add it as an actual incline.
But you can walk on it.
Yeah, but human beings can walk on it, and small monsters can walk on it as well.
Okay.
But this one's just actively small. It's actually a large monster.
So I understand the idea behind this event is that it's supposed to be Rush. It's Mega Man's dog because he's a red dog.
Yeah.
But they just will not put completely unique monsters in here unless there's a really good fucking reason.
Yeah.
It's I
there's
get it.
Certain kinds of cameos that they're willing to do, but not a lot. And it's sort of all over the goddamn place, to be totally honest with you. I kind of I appreciate it, but at the same time, I understand like the problem, and I don't like it. It's just a big pain in the butt. I think we've talked about it before.
Yeah.
Where it basically boils down to, it used to be that they never changed the monster, and then they started changing the monster recently, and it just makes them look lazy now, because they don't do it for anything but like one cameo, or sorry, one crossover specifically. You just climb in that tree?
Yeah, he's just doing parkour.
Oh, okay. I was gonna hit him different, but I guess I can hit him this way. He's like a street shark. He's just phasing through the ground.
So there's a second rush in this, right? There's another
there should
Odogaron?
be 2 Odogaron, yes.
Why is that? Is it just for difficulty's
I think
sake?
it's just for the sake of difficulty, because they don't want you to fight a single one. There we go. I was hoping for that.
Nice.
Good. Don't worry.
That's great.
Let me just ride his head.
There isn't a second robot dog. Well,
no,
there
no,
is.
No.
There's
well, I mean, kind of.
Base has one, but there's no second red one.
No, not actually.
I'm gonna give a little disclaimer that 90% of my understanding.
Oh my god!
Whoo!
Holy shit! For real?
Oh my god!
Where's the kill box in Monster Hunter, though? There, apparently. Holy
Nice.
shit! Are you for real?
That didn't count as a cart, did it?
I don't think it did. I really hope it didn't. Because that wasn't my fault.
Yeah, it wasn't.
And I missed the monster being on the ground, though. So I missed like a whole bunch of damage I could have done to this thing.
Yeah, but that was a priceless
I mean,
moment.
it was pretty great, but like, fucking hell.
This is fucking amazing.
Jesus, that was so bad.
I was in the middle of saying, though, before that amazing shit
Yeah.
happened, like 90% of my understanding of Mega Man as a series at all comes from having read a bunch of Sprite comics in about 2002, 2003.
Fair enough.
And I'm
very hurt.
kind of, like, embarrassed of that. Not because it's like, oh, I read Sprite comics like a weirdo. It's like, no, those are amazing. And I love all webcomics. But the fact that I'm not good at 2D platformers means I've never gotten a better first-hand look at the way things go.
I
I'm
actually
pretty
like
sure.
Mega Man quite a bit. It's one of... I would say as far as 2D platformers go, it's one of those 2D platformers that I really appreciate. I don't play as often as I probably should, but I did play a lot of Mega Man when I was like growing up a little bit.
I've got some of them, like on a compilation disc.
My favorite Mega Man, though, is the one that isn't a 2D platformer. I really, really like...
Legends?
Legends, yes.
Yeah, I've never played Legends, but I have Tron Bond.
Yeah,
which is
a really
amazing.
fun game.
Shout out to the kid who lived next to me in middle school who owned it, and then when we moved away, he said, yeah, keep it, you like it more than I do. And then that game turned out to be like a rare game.
Yeah.
I won't do a full shout out because that's called doxing now.
Yeah, probably not a good idea. Please don't kill me. Oh, god damn it. It was that or I took the damage because I was rolling around, so...
Apparently,
I didn't like carding on that, but I had to.
I found out that Astera jerky will, like, stop your bleeding faster than a steak will, and also will
and
heal
you also eat it faster.
Yeah.
You know what? I had steak and I have a gobble stuff on.
Oh yeah, so
I could have just eaten that.
Oh hey, there's the other guy. Did he just now
Yeah,
show
he
up?
spawns in when this one hits probably like 25% health or something like that. Oh, fuck me. That was bad.
Yeah, I really like Tron Bond because why wouldn't you? That game is amazing.
Yeah, that game's pretty good.
And also Mega Man 8, which is the PlayStation one, is like I've gotten as far as like almost the end of the game before it got too hard. Mason also seems to have read a lot of Bob and George, because I know that line. I've not seen anything of that comic for like 10 years, but it's still somewhere inside my heart.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
We also have a question.
Okay.
In Geo, there's Mega Demon Drug and Armor Skin. Do those last until you faint like with the regular ones?
I think, if I remember correctly, that those are actually based in earlier games on just general time. But I can't remember 100%, so you might not want to quote me on that one. I could be wrong. There is a chance for it.
And also, have you played the X series? I haven't.
No, actually. I'm aware of it. I just haven't ever actually played Mega Man X. I know about it mostly because, well, I mean, the game came out at the time it came out, but I know a lot more about it as an adult because a lot of people tend to use it as an explanation for, like, the best kind of way to start a game, because there's a lot of explanation. Oh, he ran fast.
He's another guard. He's gonna be
yeah,
swift.
No, he's way faster than he should be. It's because of the
babe.
size. I know. I don't have any healing items anymore.
Oh, shit.
I'm 100% out. I'm probably going to cart this and then have to come back in, by the way. Unless Tao keeps successfully healing.
Yeah, well, you have the ability to, like, command her to.
Yeah, but I also... Yeah, you know what? That's technically true.
You also have your Gilly Mantle, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't help me with health. It just helps me to hide for a little bit. And even then, if they're already this pissed off at me, it's probably...
Okay. The one thing I know about the Mega Man X series is that fans have this insistence that there's something that happens between the main series and X that's supposed to be super dramatic, but there's never actually been... I've been told that people fight over whether or not that's actually canon or not.
Oh no, it's super canon. It's there's a war that's effectively caused by Dr. Light, but not at the same time, and it basically like ends humanity because Mega Man Legends is a continuation of Mega Man X, where everybody is a Reploid. There's no human beings left. Despite the fact that you kind of open the game and you think, oh, these are all humans, and you're dealing with a bunch of humans and all this other stuff. And then the main, like, big ol' spoilers, by the way, but the main twist at the end is that you meet a character who's introduced as being, like, a god, and it's a human being. It's just, like, the last human left. And it's like, oh, okay.
And I had been told through watching other people fight about it on the internet that there was, like, at some point one of the creators said something different, and people take that as a potential canon.
I don't, not to my knowledge, but
I don't
maybe.
know. What is that? What did he have?
What
They
you
brought
got,
him in here
big
with
guy?
some meat?
Did you come in here with food?
They didn't give us, well, did they give us food?
No?
They didn't give us any rations?
Well, they gave us a few rations. But
Okay, we all got food except for the little guy.
maybe that food was for the little guy? Yeah, but I just basically... I thought I had, like, knocked a gib off him. I was like, what the fuck? Why did he come in here with meat? What is that?
I don't know. Like,
I've never seen that happen before.
they can have meat, but I've never seen it like that. If you're in the Rotten Vale, they will drag Legiana corpses away, but I've never seen them with, like, a nice, fresh, non-rotted, gross piece of meat.
It's almost like meat bone, but it's missing the bone. Like,
Yeah, it looks kind of like they just have, like, a liver or something that they've been snacking on. I don't know.
oh, good.
Kind of a neat touch, but why did they put it into this death pit with food?
I don't know. That's very strange.
That was actually a nice shot. It jumped over you and you just scraped it across the
Yeah, I get those a lot, but the problem is that they don't do any more damage than any other hit. They look super cool, but they're really just kind of pointless. And honestly, they don't usually hit. Usually you kind of get fucked up by them.
There was a
Big guy's real
another
mad, too.
another Odegaard Arena question. I don't know if it's in today, but it was in earlier. That was in the challenges up in the Gathering Hub, and it was 2 Odegarms that they were low rank. I didn't realize that till after I had finished it, but it's one of those ones where they give you a choice of weapons. All of them are not optimal for fighting 2 Odegarms.
Okay.
I think you may have seen me fight them, actually.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I was just sitting there struggling with a hammer, and it's like, I'm not that good with a hammer, and they're so
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah, they're pretty quick monsters. Well, I mean, Greatsword is a pretty slow weapon too, and I use that to beat the crap out of Odegaard.
Yeah, but it's also your main.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah, I eventually wound up going in with the heavy bowgun option and beating them a bunch too. But, like, there's just a bunch of Odegaarans around lately.
Yeah. Well, they're kind of a Halloween-themed monster.
Kind of. I mean, the
you can make the
entire
argument.
Rotten Vale is kind of Halloween.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, as much as Odegaron is Halloween, everything else is kind of Halloween in there as well.
I don't know if I said it at any point on stream. I don't think I did. But they should have done a Black Diablos and given it, like, orange horns.
Yeah, like, I think I suggested candy corn horns when we had this conversation.
Yeah, and we were like, shit, yeah, Homestuck Diablos.
Yeah, well, maybe not that, but, you know.
Candy corn horns.
I know what you mean, I'm just saying. Say goodbye to your tail, big guy. It's mine now.
He mad.
Yeah, he's super mad.
Well, I mean, he was born mad, but, like, he's drooling.
Yeah.
I hope you don't need to do this a bunch of times in a row, though, to get the...
If I do, I'll actually get items when I come in here next time.
That's true.
Because I came in here with nothing originally, and that I think is my biggest problem here.
Tao needs to wake up and get you some heals.
Well, she's working on other stuff right now, but yeah, I agree.
That's fair.
Yeah, Tao, make a thing.
You just gotta use the signal.
I know, I just...
See? Here she comes.
I have some potions, actually.
Yeah, that's better than nothing.
Yeah, I don't know if I picked those up or not. I swear to God, I thought I was out, but maybe I wasn't. Oh, dear.
Oh, Shatika's in here. They're the one with a mom who worked at Blockbuster. You remember that story with, like, the Lunar pre-order necklace and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. One time when my mom worked at Blockbuster, someone took the case off one of the Battle Network Megaman games and put a football game case on it for some reason.
Okay.
And then returned so people who rented football game got Megaman. So they had to take it off the shelf and throw it out. So Mom just peeled the label off, wrote Battle Network on it, and gave it to me.
Aw, that's adorable.
I wonder if that's a thing that happens often, is people just trolling sports gamers with shit like that.
Oh, maybe. I wouldn't assume that would have happened very often, but it could have.
It's also possible that they just couldn't find the case and just put it into a case they had sitting around.
Speaking of, I don't think we had mentioned it originally, but I have a weird thing that I picked up once at a Blockbuster when I was very young. Somebody gave me, like, a gift card for Christmas. By the way, worst thing to get somebody for Christmas is a gift card.
That's not completely true.
Okay, there are worse things you can get, but, like, let's be real. Don't give people gift cards. It's so weird.
It depends on where it's for. If it's a gift card for food, it means, like, here's, like, a good meal, but you can have it when you want it.
I guess, but just give them money at that point, like...
Well, sometimes, like, okay, the idea is that...
I did that with, like, 5 fucking Mega Potions. That was good.
The idea is that if you know the kind of thing someone likes, you're giving them the freedom of picking what they want, but also the thoughtfulness of knowing what they want. In theory.
In theory. But when I was a kid, somebody got me for, like, Christmas or something like that. They gave me a Blockbuster gift card.
That seems like a bullshit gift, though, because that's a gift card for renting.
Yeah, well, I mean, they do have other things, and I guess that was, like, maybe they thought about it, but the other things, typically, if you think about Blockbuster and stuff that they have, it's like, here's candy for movies. But I went into my local Blockbuster, and for $10, I purchased a physical book of Clow from Card Captors.
Oh yeah, that's on our card dresser.
We have that on a shelf somewhere with a bunch of actual books, because it just looks like a book from the side.
I'm really sad that you couldn't carve the meat.
It's the weirdest thing. Yeah, I know. I tried to do it the first time I saw it. As soon as he dropped it, I tried to carve that meat.
Neat.
But it didn't. It didn't carve, yeah.
Like, you thought of it way before I did.
That looks like a really nice face, by the way.
Like that shot?
Yeah. If it was a little more centered, that could look really cool.
Maybe a little less dust.
Yeah, so Odegaron scales, Mega Man ticket. Kind of a lame name for a ticket, but yeah, sure. Unfortunately, we only got one, and I'm sure we're gonna need like 3 for anything.
Yeah, and it's just for Palico stuff. There's no hunter armor?
I don't know for sure, actually.
Well, all I remember seeing news about was
Palico stuff. I remember that, but it's like, I don't know, there could actually be another weapon that I'm just unaware of.
Yeah, it could be.
Ooh, Vigor Wasp Spray is almost up to 10, then we could switch it over to something that's got, like, leveled 0.
You mean the shield?
Yeah, I think the shield's the only thing we have left.
Yeah, it's not that useful, at least not, like, initially. Maybe it levels up and gets a second function, that's
Also,
good.
yes, it's amazing, the Book of Cloud thing. I don't know why it was there, or what it was doing. It was just there. So I picked it up and went, yeah, I'll buy this for $10. And then I bought it, and that was the end. I think at some point my mom found it, was like, did you know that's not a real book? And I'm like, yeah.
At least she didn't think it was something weird inside, because they kind of look like tarot cards.
They do look a little like tarot cards.
But, like, what is your mom's stance on that kind of thing?
I don't think she really cares, but she is one of those people who gets weird about Ouija boards, so it's like...
Yeah, it's like, do you think she'd think
that
if you had tarot cards, you were doing some, like, weird culty stuff?
She might. Let's see, Zora Magdaros.
My mom apparently used to do tarot readings for people she knew online.
Weird.
My mom is infinitely cooler than yours. I'm sorry.
Thanks.
Yours is alive.
Jerk. Hey,
you win.
Okay, now you're going real, like, oof. What the hell? Where did that come from? Jesus.
I'm just saying, my mom, when she was around, used to do tarot readings over the internet for her friends.
That was like unnecessarily. We were having like a conversation, and you whipped out a knife and stabbed me. Like, what the fuck?
I'm stabbing him right now for emphasis. You guys can't see it.
Stop twisting it, please.
I didn't twist it.
Christ.
There. No, it's just relevant conversation.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything Mega Man-y in the weapons. I assumed it would have been one of the little...
that would have made sense, but...
I don't know. I guess maybe there isn't a weapon for hunters, and it didn't look like there was any armor, was there?
Has there ever been like a Mario Party board level that was just the Luigi board and it looked like a Ouija board?
There should be, but I don't think there is.
It makes sense.
Luigi's
mansion is all ghosts.
It kind of does, but yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
no, it would be like the Luigi board. It's got...
Yeah, Mega Man.
Okay.
Apparently we've never looked at that set. I thought we had, but I guess not.
There it is.
Was it there?
Yeah.
Why doesn't it say new?
Is it just...
And it's just the blaster. What?
Is there something else that we need
to Mega Buster.
Get? Also,
Maybe?
holy shit, that weird outline shading.
The weird shaders on this voxel model.
I've seen that kind of thing before.
Weird. Yeah, I don't really like
the
it.
The fact that it stops when it hits everything else is the problem.
Is there like a... No, there's no low rank one. So it has to be that it's... Oh god, there's something going on here and we gotta figure out how to make this work. Oh god, okay.
Was there any other options for forging equipment? Like...
No?
Because when you go in, it's just standard equipment, full arm. Yeah, that wasn't there before.
Oh, what the fuck?
Apparently that has to be one piece.
Oh, that's extra confusing, but that's what it looks like.
Oh, you've got
I got the armor
pigments
turned on. Let me turn these on to just default color for all.
Now change them to something, just both at once.
Yeah, okay. Look at this armor though. It's the weirdest thing. It's not terrible or anything, but it's strange.
Except the posture of a standard Palico is clearly still happening here. He's hunched
the weird
over.
Little hunchy, yeah.
It's like inside the giant ham boots, there's just a digitigrade pause, so he's gonna walk weird.
So I don't know what these are, but I'm sure that most of them are actual, like, fucking power-up colors for Mega Man.
This is just tinting the regular, so you can't have it be like red with yellow accents for fire swords or whatever.
Probably. Let's make him blue.
I wish they would just let us fine-tune this and we could make our own Mega Man recolors and make it common.
It's right here.
Yeah, no, like for accent color and main color.
Oh, yeah.
And then take the helmet off and then, like, Photoshop on hair from, like, Goku.
I mean, that's really nice, but it would be nice if we could look at it with the everything going on.
You're just gonna keep the yellow?
Yeah, well, I can't buy it. I can't afford any of it. I only got 1 ticket, and that costs 3, and the weapon's 2.
That's true.
So we need 5 total, and we've only got 1, which means we're doing it again.
Do you want to do little things in between?
Yeah, we'll do a second one of these, just because, and then we'll do some little things here and there.
Okay. We still never got them birds off of any Aptonoths, so if you ever
true,
want to take
a
quick check.
It's
up to you. I've caught like 2 Wiggler Queens since the last time we were on.
Did we catch any Wiggler Queens?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did.
Let's see here. I don't really need anything.
Asterojerk is actually useful here. Can you make that?
I don't think you can. I think you have to buy it.
Oh, okay. I remember that they gave me like 5 of them during that challenge where it was 2 Odegarms.
I have any of my drugs, so I'm going to have to make more drugs. Shatika, did you see the thing where we fell through the world, by the way? Because that just happened. Oh.
Let me scroll up.
No, I don't think so. That's fine.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, it's fine. I was wondering if anybody had seen, because I know James Mason saw it, but I wasn't sure if anybody else was around when that happened, because that was
You gonna
intense.
try and replicate it?
No.
Wow.
I'm gonna hope it doesn't happen again, because that's a weird thing to happen, and it happens right at the end of the mount instead, which is really strange.
Well, I'm later going to try and replicate it on my own account, because it was pretty fucking good.
Skin. This is good enough. I can make this work. We'll eat, too. We didn't eat the last time at all.
Yeah, it's a good idea to eat sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, you know, maybe.
Yeah, we mounted the tiny Odegaron, and then it flung him off into the floor.
Yeah, it flung us off, and we just kind of went off into space. We were under the map, and everything was blue skies.
Beautiful blue skies, and above us were
and we were
the
falling
ripples
forever.
of water. And then we ended up back at the start. Didn't count as a death.
Didn't. So we'll do... Let's see, what else is in here? I still have this one that I can't get into.
Yeah, it's HR 50, and you're like 30.
Well, I'm 38. I'm almost there, but it's like it's not quite enough.
I'm sure between now and 50, they put some other quest in that you gotta finish first.
Yeah. So this one, by the way, I don't know if you noticed the title. It's A Rush of Blood.
Yeah.
So I guess Rush is out for blood now.
It's a real tenuous connection to the source material they're crossing over with.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. James Mason said in chat that sometimes she falls through the floor in Dark Souls. I have had that happen to me on a couple of occasions, too. It depends on whether or not, especially in Dark Souls 1, if you unlock your frame rate, it happens way more often than otherwise.
It never happened to us for the playthrough.
Yeah, no, we never had to deal with it in the playthrough, but that does happen sometimes, and it is a massive pain in the butt when it does.
In fact...
Because it's just a weird, like, oh god moment.
In fact, there's some points in that game where I'm supposed to fall and don't, and it scares the crap out of you. What? There was at least one point where I managed to walk perfectly around a hidden pit that you were trying to warn me about. Like I fall through the world less than usual in that game.
I don't remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, in the sewers. In the depths.
Yeah, was there?
Yeah, there was this shitty rat maze. And if you fall down, it's into, like, the basilisk pit. And you were like, don't go there. And it's like, I walked over, it's like, what? And it's like, I just walked over the exact perfect place where you don't fall in.
I guess, maybe, yeah.
It was a long time ago. That LP took forever.
Well, in Dark Souls 1, the big thing with Dark Souls 1 is that if you unlock the frame rate, the game freaks out for multitudes of reasons, but it's mostly because I think the frame rate is tied to the in-game clock or something weird like that. And like, the main way that people wind up falling through the floor is going down ladders. Because when you go down a ladder at 60 FPS in that game, the way that it's built up, it takes you fast enough that you just pass right the fuck through it. Wow, it looks like I'm just standing here.
Let's see if you fall again.
Hope not. Nope. Okay,
nope.
I didn't.
Okay.
Good.
I'm disappointed.
That's where it happened the last time, too. It was almost this exact spot.
Yeah, I'm assuming, like, the angle was different or something.
I'm wondering if he falls through the floor, do you think he winds up around somewhere else?
Maybe.
Does he go back to the... Yeah, I was going to say, does he go back like he carted?
That would be interesting.
That would be weird.
It's not supposed to get up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, dog's not supposed to go on the furniture inside.
Yep, dogs aren't allowed on the furniture.
I feel like if you own a dog, you should already be prepared for it to be on the furniture.
You'd think so, but a lot of people are, like, really, really anal about that.
Like, it seems like the kind of thing where you kind of know what you're getting into in terms of, like, dog-proofing your home. And you make your decisions based off of whether you're willing to.
A lot of people think that they can just get a dog and not really think too hard about it and not really dog-proof their house. It's like how some people have babies and they don't think about how dangerous their house is.
Yeah, they don't, like, put little plugs
really
on their
occurs
outlets.
to them. Yeah.
Yeah, no. It's like the kind of people who don't want, like, the dog on the couch. It's like, you're lucky you don't have a cat. They will get up there and knock shit over, and they'll do it to spite you. That's why cats are good.
My uncle used to gingerly put zip ties on the back legs of his cats. It was just like he'd put it on the back of one foot, and it wasn't like it was tight. Like it wasn't tight enough that it was cutting off circulation, or it was loose enough that you could get, like, put a whole finger in there, but the cat couldn't pull its foot out, and it stopped them from jumping on anything ever. His cats just refused to jump more than a couple feet at a time. Because they were terrified to jump because it felt weird. It's like putting booties on dogs and how they just walk super gently for the rest of forever until they take them off. Apparently you could just do that with, like, zip ties on the backs of cats' feet.
Again, just don't get an animal if you can't handle the fact that it's going to jump on
That was him
it.
handling the fact. Also, their cats didn't do that until they got to a certain age. Apparently their cats were totally fine, and then out of nowhere they just decided that they wanted to start jumping up on shelves full of knickknacks. And he was like, I don't know why they just made this weird decision. So
I assume that's the default mode of cats, is to want to jump on your shelf full of knickknacks.
It sounds super cruel, too, but it actually wasn't. It never seemed like it was all that bad. Didn't seem to really care. They just didn't like jumping because of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see this happen, so I'm not sure how to feel about it. Yeah. Now, if we ever get a cat, we're first gonna get like display shelves with a glass door in front.
Yeah, because all of our shelves are completely open at all times.
I mean, shit. Sometimes I knock stuff over.
Yeah.
Not on purpose.
No, but just... you walk past it and it gets stuck in your hair. Like
that does happen. It's like I'm walking past the shelf in our bedroom to get to the other side of the room, and like a bunch of Littlest Pet Shop figurines and anime vinyls just decide to travel in my hair as I pass.
Yeah.
And I'm not even like flipping my hair around or anything. I'm just walking by. Maybe there's like some static cling.
Yeah, it could be. The second one is already spawned, by the way.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Does it have meat?
I couldn't tell. And I couldn't tell with I couldn't tell with the other one that it had meat until I hit it the first time.
Yeah, no, I could tell as you were approaching it last time that it had something. These jumps are way more impressive when it's the size of it.
It's cause, I was gonna say it's because of the size, like.
Yeah.
Because it's so small, it's still got all of the same hitboxes, including like its movement boxes. So it's moving forward at a much faster rate than it should, like super accelerated movement. It looks goofy as hell. They used to do this, I think there was an event, if I'm not mistaken, in Try that we never got to really do because I think it might have been a Japanese one. But it had a Devil Joe that was micro. And the Devil Joe was super annoying to have to fight because it was adorable and you could hit it, you could beat on it. You couldn't mount it because you can't mount it. But you could beat on it, and Devil Joe had like a handful of hits in that game where he'd just jump up and down and like try and stomp on you. And he'd just be jumping around, and it would just look weird and confusing. And then I think they wound up doing like I don't know, like a handful of other things that were kind of like that. We've talked about it before, but the answer for not doing unique monsters in earlier games was literally they just did size variations like this. 4U had quite a few that were... Hey,
you got a gem.
4U had quite a few events that were literally just fight a tiny version of a monster that's usually kind of like moderately sized. And then you'd fight it and you'd be like, what am I doing? What's going on here? There we go. I was trying to figure... Oh, I already got it. Okay.
I feel like a tiny Devil Joe is exactly what I want to see.
Yeah. Well, with a lot of them, the smaller versions are really tiny sometimes, and it's just absolutely bizarre. Like, let me think. What's a good one? There used to be an event in 4G. I don't even remember what you got through it, but it was like tiny Yayan Kutku, which is like already kind of a small-ish bird monster. And you could mount it in 4G, so you'd basically get on its back and it would look like you were riding around on a more bird-oriented, like, Yoshi, basically. Like, it was really, really cute.
I'm imagining right now a little Devil Joe in the palm of your hand, and it does that
thing. It's
not
quite that small, but yeah.
It's doing that thing that sometimes birds and hamsters do, where if you pet it real gently while it's in your hand, it'll just kind of floof down and just turn into a pancake in your hand.
Yeah.
Which is just a little Devil Joe, and it just flattens out into like just a little blob.
They're scaly and spiky as shit.
No, they're fat little things. Well, they're fat, enormous things. I'm imagining it, and it works. It's just like a weird deflated pickle just sort of decides to get comfortable there because you were petting it.
Well, you know the alternative weirdness to the tiny one going all over the fucking place is this giant one moves at the same rate as the other ones. So if he's doing like big jumps and shit, he's gonna look like he's not actually going very far.
Is he really all that giant?
No, he's just an average one, I think. I don't know.
They're... Like, this is bigger than normal, but this is probably still natural upper range.
Yeah, I think this isn't... I don't even think this is a gold crown, to be honest.
There might be, like, a chance of getting a gold crown from this event. Because apparently on the Capcom events calendar page, they keep saying for certain events, for certain quests, it's like, pick up some gold crowns.
Yeah,
when
they
fight
like to
5 things at once.
They like to push the concept of, okay, you're gonna be fighting big things, so there might be some gold crowns, and it'll be an increased like rate of like 10%. It's bragging rights, and technically you do get stuff, but it's like...
Well, like, there's achievements.
It's like the weird little achievements, though, and I'm kind of not a big fan of those to begin with. I don't like achievements in Monster Hunter. It weirds me out.
I don't mind them because I just ignore them anyways. And if nothing else, you can kind of use them as a way to figure out what's left to do in a game. Like sometimes you just get spoilers from achievements if you just look at them and it's like, oh, well, there's this thing and I can beat it. Well, I guess I'm gonna go do that now.
Yeah.
I think at one point we had accidentally found the cheapo page for one of the Neptunia games. It was like, oh, it's that many chapters. Oh, there's a character we're gonna get.
It was kind of a pain in the ass. Well, you say one of, but we've only played 2. I think it was the first one specifically.
Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't sure which.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, guy. Oh, you fucking stunned me too? Fantastic.
I think you can use the radial menu to call Tao, by the way. I don't know if she's actually going to get you unstunned.
I think there is a ping option when you turn it on, but I'm not even sure.
I always manage to unstun myself before she gets to me, but it should call her.
Right. I've noticed that happens in... Are you just walking away from me? I've noticed that happens often too, is what I was going to say. Oh, he's eating that meat he dropped. Oh, you dick. Are you healing off of that too?
I thought they don't heal.
I didn't think that they did, but if he comes in with meat, I have to assume he's going to use it.
Well, I mean, you said that they heal stamina.
Yeah, but that's a unique item.
Oh, so there's a chance that they can
Well,
heal?
there's a chance. If it's unique, that means that there is a chance that maybe he gets a heal. Like, he could just get a heal because other monsters don't, or something like that. It's like, oh, now I'm good, or powered up, or some other thing.
Do they normally glow when they're angry?
I've never noticed, but I guess, yeah.
Because he's got some glow going on between
Yeah,
his
no, he super does. He's, like, on fire.
Like, part of it, I think, is that we never notice because they're always in an area with more stuff going on visually, so, like, we're not looking at it through, like, the effluvium.
Yeah.
But it could also just be glowing for robot reasons.
No, I think they normally glow, and I think we just haven't noticed.
Okay.
Oh, where'd you go, bud? Shit. Hey, come back. There we go.
You shot him in the dick and he died.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people die that way.
That's true. That would probably, because it's still a gunshot. It would probably still just blow a vital organ off.
Yeah. Yeah, it would.
I mean, you shot him with what we assume is like his own scale that fell off because you hit him.
Well, they're piercing pods. They explode when you shoot them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that would probably, like, I mean, we know they don't insta-kill these things, but, like a shot to the dick with one of those would be pretty bad.
Fapney's asked something, and I'm just going to say real quick, we haven't said anything about it yet. Fapney's was asking about the variety stream.
We said something.
Oh, what did we say?
Yeah, that it hasn't happened.
It hasn't happened, and it's mostly because of your work schedule.
Yeah, my work schedule, it's like Josh wanted to get it on, like, a weekend so that there's a better chance of people showing up. And we want it to be a long one because we want to do more than one game. Yeah. And it just, my work keeps screwing us over.
So what we think that we want to do is that we want to sit down and spend a few hours out of one day doing it. That's a pretty good picture. Look at that. It's just kind of like walking in. Because I shot it when I killed it. So
the harbinger of death and the little pumpkin mascot who's come in to send a message to you.
Yeah, something like that. But we haven't said anything. Yes, we want to play multiple games. I think we're currently working under the assumption that we can't do it this week, but we are hoping that we can do it next week.
Weeks for my work, because they're annoying, start on like 4 p.m. on a Thursday is when they're supposed to have the schedule up on our bulletin board.
Yeah, obviously we're also going to put up, we'll put up a video on the YouTube that basically just tells people when it's going to happen, when we know for sure that we're doing it.
I've already made a little art video to accompany it.
Yeah, and we're basically just waiting to do a dub over it because we don't know when it's going to happen.
Yeah, and I could try to reserve a specific day off, but they very frequently ignore when people do that.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
For important things like kids' birthdays and doctor's appointments, they'll just sort of ignore it and schedule you anyways. So if I'd be like, well, I wanted to play some video games on the internet, they're just gonna
yeah, they're gonna laugh at you.
They're just gonna say nothing and walk away. I mean, I could pretend that something big is happening.
Yeah.
When Josh's niece turned 1 and they decided to take her out to Cheesecake Factory, I actually was given the time I wanted because I explained what it was for.
This looks good and I like it.
Yeah. Now I want...
we need two more tickets for this one, but...
Now I want matching voxel palico armor of the fighter and black mage from Final Fantasy 1, and I want to line them up next to each other and have them talk about sword checks.
I really want to get some Megaman armor for the player, but it's not... It doesn't exist.
Yeah. Why would... You'd think they would do... Maybe not the pixely stuff, but just giving you... Because there's non-pixel versions.
Yeah.
Maybe giving you, like, Legends armor.
They could have given you, like, box art Mega Man.
Oh, shit. That would be perfect.
That's the thing that Capcom really, like, fell into recently. Not even recently, like, 10 years. For like the last 10 years, they've been really pushing box art Mega Man as a joke. And it's like, it's because people liked it so much, but at the same time, it's like, okay, after a certain point, you're kind of pushing it a little farther than you probably should.
Yeah, it's basically just, you came up with a joke, and then Dad got in on it, and it became a dad joke.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, they didn't even come up with the joke.
Yeah, no, they just ran it into the ground once they found it.
So let's go see if we have anything in the Rotten Vale right now.
Well, thank you, Fatmies, saying he loves our stream, so he tries not to miss. Mm-hmm. That makes us feel really good, by the way.
Nice, thank you.
Like, absolutely, anytime people, like will say something like that, where it's like, oh, it feels like a personal touch. It's like, yeah, we're doing it good.
Even though I don't, comment on all of them, I would like to point out that if you guys ever leave comments on videos, I actively read them. I read 100% of those.
Yeah, and when there's good ones or bad ones or whichever, Josh will let me know.
Yeah, I always tell Megan and I'll show them to her. But...
I don't always check, but I do ask Josh.
Yeah.
And
Is that the one you were thinking of?
Yes.
Okay, well, I don't want to make this a we're fighting Otogarons all day thing, so...
Yeah, that's fair.
I gotta look for something else real quick.
I also read all Popka's asks dropped in my ask box. I don't always respond because I'm not always sure what to say.
You read all the notes, too?
I used to go through and try to check to see if anyone's tagged anything in reblogs, but that's hard to do because it doesn't tell you. And sometimes there'll be a lot to sift through.
Fair enough.
But if people leave something that Tumblr deigns to actually show me, because Tumblr's kind of a garbage heap about its software, like I do read, if I don't respond, it's either I can't think of something to say, or I'm hella tired and it's 4 in the morning. That happens a lot.
Yeah, a little bit. God, I have another thing in the Rotten Vale that's just a note in Connor. I don't want to
find
do that.
Something else.
I'm not into this.
Hey, can you go to the regular event stuff again?
Yeah, there's nothing else there.
There's literally nothing else?
Well, it's
okay.
Poison Posse and
there had been
Triple Threat.
Something here during the Autumn Festival, not an Autumn Festival thing, but one of the things that normally cycles in and out, that we hadn't seen prior or hadn't noticed.
Yeah, I think we saw it, but we didn't really notice what it was, and you could talk about it if you want to.
There was a thing, it was literally just kill, I think it was 13 Shamos. It was high rank, but they're Shamos. And it gets you a eye patch that's different from the one you already have. Yeah. It's like a bandage eye patch.
Yeah.
And that was cool, but it wasn't big enough to suddenly jump into a stream for.
No, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it will probably cycle back in because it was listed in the same part of the events list as the Kuliyaku head and the Wiggler head.
Which means it's just one of the generic things that does just totally show back up.
Yeah.
God,
also,
I miss the ghost cats now.
Yeah.
I miss the Halloween events. You should just be able to turn that on and off whenever you want. It shouldn't be like a
the decorative stuff?
Yeah, I'd like it just to be decorated up here at all times.
Maybe if you just gathered a few extra harvest tickets, you could have just exchanged it for the handler costume or something.
Or something like that. It pisses me off a little bit that they gave it to us and it was so cool and now it's gone.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not cool enough for that.
Oh, but I also found out that the event tickets, like the Autumn Harvest and the Wiggler ticket and all that,
yeah.
if you've got spares, you can use them at the melder.
Yeah, that's fair.
Stuff. So if you just want to get rid of them, there's that option. Oh, got a question about the second season of Dinosaur King. It's on... Is it on Netflix? I know it's on Hulu. It might be on both. I haven't watched it. I am still technically working on Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 4's Popka write-up, and I wanted to finish that before we dove into other things. I don't think we had a specific thing that was going to be next on the list after that, but it could have been Dinosaur King. It could have been a bunch of things. I know we eventually want to do the original Beyblade, and then there's a bunch of Beyblades that came after Metal Fight.
There's a lot of weird things. I don't think we're ever going to get a chance to do this because I don't think those are on Netflix.
Shit. Some of them
the
were.
original ones are. That's not what I meant. I meant the ones that come after Metal Fight Beyblade. The ones for the weird the Shogun
Steel.
Samurai or whatever. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
I don't think that one was on. I think that was one of the ones that was not on it.
Maybe. I don't know.
Oh,
but, like, I know that, like, we were gonna do Zatchbell, because it's kind of in the genre.
It sort of fits it, but not quite. It's so weird.
I also had a couple of ideas for things that were going to be, like, when I did, like, the Fat Baby epilogue or the Fat Baby remake, where it's like, this is how I would do it. I had one that was just formulating in my head that was just if I made my own Digimon season. I also had one that almost became an April Fool's thing where I just basically made up a fake show.
Yeah.
And it was basically Beyblade but with sticky hands.
Yeah, like the ones that you get out of like the quarter machine.
Yeah, and like I've got basic ideas for those and I've just never gotten to them. But it's because I got a million different projects at any given time.
That hurt a bit.
I've got, like, let's see. I've got stuff for the channel, art-wise. I'm working on, bit by bit, I'm working on another title card for our Neptunia. There's a preview up on my Twitter. Do we have my Twitter linked in the...
I don't think... Well, we have Popka's linked, I know that.
And it's
and your
not
Twitter's
on
linked
there.
on the channel.
Okay. Yeah, it's at Megan Fantastic. Just one of the most recent posts is just a picture of Red from Neptunia because it's just, I finished that character and just posted it.
Yeah.
But yeah, title card for that. I don't think I had any other channel art right now, but anytime we start a new game, I'm gonna need a title card for it. Anytime we do a character snark, I do the little sketch thing at the end. Popka's, I'll just say the Popka's queue, because I usually just do a bunch of posts and then queue them up. I've got 3 posts in it, and that's the point where I get antsy and it's like, no, I have to go and make some more pictures and stick it in there.
Yeah.
I have a Laserwing page, half inked.
What are we talking about again?
Just all the reasons I'm not watching Dinosaur King or Zatchbell or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
I have many projects.
The biggest reason is that we haven't finished the write-up for Yu-Gi-Oh! Yet.
Yes, but it's because there's so many other things I'm doing at the same time. Also, like we said earlier, my work screws us over. Holy crap, though, Tao just swinging that non-pixel sword while dressed like that.
Being Megaman, yeah, I noticed. It looks kind of weird.
Just that glowing tribal rune sword and Megaman's face.
Yeah. Somebody gave Mega Man like the weapon from a completely different game for some strange reason. It's like it looks a little Smash Brothers-y because it's just a completely different design for the character.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, I'm not really surprised that they didn't go with the Smash Mega Man, but I'm kind of like wish they would.
They probably didn't go with that because that's not technically Capcom's design. I think they don't own that.
Yeah, that is a clever way
sounds.
to do it, though, was that doesn't he still, we don't have that game.
No, yeah,
but
what were you saying?
He still moves kind of pixely.
Yes, so they designed him to look like, hey,
hi.
what up, Odogaron?
This is the Odogaron episode of the stream.
Yeah, I didn't think he'd show up, but yeah, they designed him to still have animations that make him look like the original Mega Man and stuff. And wow, on his head and everything.
Dang.
And it's like, it looks really good. Like, he looks super weird, and it's clearly on purpose. Because he's like, very stoic-faced and very, like, blank and robotic in his movements and stuff. And it's like, that's a good way to do Mega Man.
Yeah, the people doing the models for Smash clearly have a love for the source material.
Yeah, I always like that.
Yeah, and also they got that stuff like, what is it, like, anytime there's only 2 people in the fight, Ryu is facing the other person like it's a fighting game.
Yeah.
Like, they care.
Yeah, they do.
That's good. But, like, I wish they could have used that, because this pixel stuff, like, it's a cute gimmick, but it's gonna wear thin eventually. But I understand why they can't.
Yeah, well,
they don't know
the
that.
weird voxels anyway. Oh, come on, you guys. Yeah. I was trying to fucking... Alright. These fucking Gajalikas, I swear.
They're kind of helpful.
Sort of, but not in that like one instance where they just basically fucking paralyzed me in the middle of the hunt. Jeez. But what we were really going to talk about, the meat and potatoes for the variety stream stuff, was do you want to talk about some of the games we're thinking about doing, or like the general genres
I want to keep the opening game kind of vague.
Okay, I'm not 100% sure what the opening game is.
Yeah, no, it's the one you saw.
Oh, okay.
It's because it's kind of a weird thing. Not super weird, but like if I don't explain anything about it, then when it comes up, it's gonna be like, what the fuck is this?
Oh, god damn it. Come on, you guys.
I will say that what I want us to start off with is, it's just mini games. But
yeah, all right.
It's just like a light starter. One of the ideas that I kind of shopped at you was just going to be, it was going to be just different mini games just in general. But I wasn't sure if all of them would be funny. The one that I know is going to be funny is going to be the one we start with. And then you wanted to do some other games.
Yeah.
You specifically wanted to name drop Tomodachi Life, correct?
Yeah. So one of the ones that we are thinking about doing is, well, we probably actually want to do.
It's 99% this one's going in there.
It's Tomodachi Life.
Unless,
if people would be into it, if people aren't into that, then we don't have to. I mean, really, we're asking you guys for opinions.
Unless we accidentally swallow the cartridge, it's gonna be there.
Probably, yeah.
But if it turns out that we suck at making it fun, then like it might be only the one time.
Yeah.
You want to talk about how we got it? We got it from the dying Toys R Us, right?
Toys R Us, yeah.
Yeah, we live really close, like down the street and across the road from a Toys R Us, and all Toys R Us are dead right now. Or are there some like still alive in like Alaska or something?
No, I think they're mostly dead. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure they're dead.
Yeah. It's being suggested we do World 1 for a stream because we've mentioned that we do own it. That's like
what was it?
Digimon.
Oh, yeah, we could probably do that. Originally, we wanted that to be an LP, but actually, it probably would be way better.
Because it's a bit repetitive.
Yeah,
when we played it for ourselves,
it is a game that kind of drags on as time goes on. So
I made the same joke like 20 times anytime we were like doing a specific thing, and Josh kept telling me to quit doing it.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a good joke. It was just a Space Tree reference.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, it would be better as a stream. I did at one point post to Popkas, and this is going to be a hard post to find.
Okay.
Because when we were doing it, I did sketches in a little sketchbook with Prismacolor markers of all of our Diggles.
They were super nice, and they were not good. Yeah, no, they were nice.
They were not. They were like shitpost drawings.
I liked them.
One of our Diggles we named, well, you named for some reason, we named it Bishy, like Bishonen, and I just drew like a sexy man with like a bird face or something.
Yeah, well, it was literally because you kept giving them personalities like that whenever you drew them, and I was like, if I do this, she'll be forced to draw like something awful with a cute face.
One of them was just named Tuba, and I drew it with a little tuba with Funk Engine written on it.
Yeah. We had Jeremy at one point, which was just a
He was a
Betamon.
bullfrog.
Yeah, Jeremy was literally a frog. We really lucked out with that because that was not intentional.
Oh, shit, really? Shattuck's saying the Digimon World 1 Diggle drawings might be how they found Popkas.
Oh.
Neat. So, yeah, you've seen them. Like, I gave a basic description of each one. It was like, I want to say... I think Piter was the special boy who was like an indigo child who eventually became a retail worker.
He must be upstairs.
And Tuba was a fine lady. Who else did we have? Spitva, who died.
Yeah, there were a lot of them that died.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all of them died.
Well, sure.
Except for the very last one.
Which
that's just
the last one not die?
I don't, because we finished the game. We just stopped playing, so you can't die. I think that one was an android, one of the like 2 or 3 androids. I remember that we had a snowman. His name was Vegeta.
Yeah, I vaguely remember very angry snowman Vegeta.
Yeah, I don't think we got every single possible Diggle when we did it.
The thing. I'm sorry.
So that would be a goal.
Yeah, it would definitely be. Speaking of Diggles, I've been doing some stuff recently where I've been like trying to look through like Digimon related stuff to try and... Here's the thing, right? I love Digimon. Digimon is like one of my favorite series, but it has this weird inconsistency issue. And the inconsistency issue is that it's basically like every single game, everything about it changes. And any kind of like evolution that you might want, you have to figure out whether or not it still comes from the thing you think it does. Except for like the ones that come out of like the main characters. So like as an example, Agumon, which we call Fat Baby usually.
I don't remember the names of almost any Digimon. I've gotta admit, it's because they all rhyme.
Yeah, Agumon,
there's no way to remember that.
Agumon grows from the same thing, which is Bodamon to Koromon every single time, right? But in some games, something like Betamon, which in the original like source for the stuff, in the original the VPET things, Betamon is one of the options that comes out of Koromon as well, and I don't think that that's actually the case in anything except for the original source. And I hate that. Like, we had a conversation about this, but it's like doing research for it just pisses me off more than anything, because I start looking at things and I'm like, oh, this was such a good idea. Why did they go back on this?
Tail Raiders are in.
Yeah, I noticed.
Let's see if your cloth is sinister or not.
I hope so.
Yeah, like when I did...
I'm wearing sinister cloth.
I mean, not really.
Yeah, you know.
But you're wearing harvest tickets.
I know. I'm kidding.
But when I did the not quite Pokedex for Digimon World,
yeah,
Dawn and Dusk, the DS games.
Yeah.
Tao over there with the thing looks so weird.
Yeah, continue. What were you saying?
I noticed that not only were they not organized in any way where you could see what evolves into what, sometimes they went out of order of like, so it was babies, then child, then whatever, and then sometimes there would just be a random thing stuck out of its actual its stages just for no reason. They did have numbers. A lot. They were a numbered list officially, and then it would be like, oh well, here's baby, baby, child, baby, baby again, child. Here's an adult.
Yeah, it's like it's not even like something that I particularly like hate or find super annoying, but it's vaguely annoying. And if I want to do anything with Digimon, I have to sit down and be like, well, does this still work? This thing I remember that I have ingrained into my brain, is this correct still? And it's like, no. Is it good
like, to kill the dog this time? Or will that not get us an evolution?
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. This isn't what I wanted to do. Oh, yeah, it is. That is where I wanted to be. I wanted to change this.
Yeah, you wanted to change it over to something else.
Yeah, so this is level 10 now, so it's not going to go up anymore. This is 10, this is 1, this is 10, this is 10, this is 10.
Is it just the shield?
Yeah, it's just the shield is all itself.
Aw, man, have fun not having it. It's a taunt, so that it keeps monsters away from you, but it's not super useful. At least not... Like I'm sure once it levels up enough, it gets some double function, but I didn't get it that far because it was useless.
Probably.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it, and I was thinking this is probably going to be like the worst one to have to upgrade. But that's fine. We'll work on that as we're doing other things.
We're being asked about something called Digimon Survive. I don't know what that is.
Off the top of my head, I don't know what that is either.
And also, Fafney's likes the blobby art style I use for the Neptunia title cards. I do that for... That kind of just came out of Waifu Month. Just the idea that the Waifu Month was Moe blobs was just... I just decided to make them blobby and it came out that way. And that's kind of my semi-official Neptunia style now. Yeah. Which is great because originally it was kind of an ironic thing and now it's just kind of become the endearing signature Neptunia thing. I posted to my DeviantArt all of those title cards, at least from the first game. I don't think the one so far for Rebirth 2 was up there. I don't remember. But it wound up getting invited into some DeviantArt groups. Like, people just wanted my art posted there. And I was like, hell yeah, because there's links in the description to the channel.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, people like that. They don't feel like it's, like, making fun of, or at least not in a mean-spirited way, the game.
Yeah, I don't think we ever had the conversation about what happened when we first started the channel. I tried to shop it around to certain places to see, like, oh, does anybody want to watch this LP of Digimon? And I did it once, and then I don't think I ever did it ever again. And it was specifically just for that one. And it was like, some of the places that I tried it on were like, okay, does Reddit care? And I went into the Digimon Reddit and asked them, hey, do you guys even care about this? Do you want to see this? And their response was, I had never been there, by the way. I think I made an account to post that.
Anytime I'm directed to Reddit to look at something, I get angry because it's ugly.
Yeah, but I went in there and I was like, do you guys like this? And every post on, like, the me just tossing it out there was, this is a Reddit for people who like Digimon, thank you. And I'm like, that I like Digimon. What the fuck?
I like and hate everything about equal. I hate things in an enjoyable way and enjoy things in a hateful way at the same time.
I really enjoy Digimon. Like, that is legitimately one of my favorite series ever.
Yeah, I think what would they have been referring to that they thought that... Was it the things like us laughing at the dude punching Digimon in the face and stuff?
I mean, that might have been part of it.
Because those were laughs of joy.
Yeah, it was probably that. It was, to some extent, I'm sure that there were people who didn't like that we were doing, like, the art, or that we were calling him Squats McNuts, or that we were making jokes about it so often. But
Squats
it's
like, McNuts is the perfect name
things
for
we enjoy. Like, fuck.
Hell yeah. Like, I mean, that's what Popkas is. Like, even stuff that's legitimately masterfully good. Like genuinely 100%. Hey, is that Buttercup? That's Buttercup.
Was it Buttercup?
I think I saw Buttercup. I saw his armpit.
Oh.
To the right. No?
No,
not up there. In front of you, like down in the pit.
I'm not seeing anything in the pit, no.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't think you said Buttercup.
Okay. Maybe I was seeing a dying Legiana, because they do that sometimes.
Yeah, they do.
That could have been what I saw. But anyways, like even the stuff that's really good in Popkas that I like I'll be like, Metabots was actually really good.
Oh, Metabots was amazing.
Yeah,
I wish there were more games for Metabots that we could have played for the channel.
Hell yeah. Or the Monster Rancher anime was the same thing. It was like, there's not that much to make fun of here. It's actually really good. I was still making it goofy. Or I'll occasionally just sit down and say, like Bulbasaur is my platonic ideal of what a Pokemon should look like. Bulbasaur is literally a perfect Pokemon. And I'll still draw it. Because
you don't even like Bulbasaur that much.
Design-wise, it is functionally perfect for what I think a Pokemon should look like.
Yeah, but if I go, hey, what's better, Bulbasaur or, like, Squirtle? You're,
Squirtle.
I didn't even have to finish the question.
But then I'll still draw a Bulbasaur doing, like, a goofy face and call it Bobzar.
Things, yeah. I really wish that there were more Metabot games, by the way. I would even have settled for, like, the most modern ones.
Oh, hell yeah, that would have been a waifu month thing.
Yeah, it would have. I would have been fine with that. For those of you who don't know, Metabots had kind of a weird renaissance in the last, I don't know, like 5-6 years, where they tried to bring it back at one point as Metabots 7, which was the 7th game in the franchise, on 3DS, and it didn't do very well. So they kind of, and Metabots 7 was more or less like, let's attempt to almost do Pokemon with Metabots. And it's like, that's an interesting concept, but it didn't really work out too good. So they went, well, let's take this in a completely different direction. And they did Metabots Girl Mission, which is just, you are like a character who I think is supposed to be a high school girl with a Metabot.
So it's just waifus.
And you're playing against other high school girl Metabots in a high school that is about Metabot fighting. You're a human being, by the way. You just have a Metabot.
That's usually how that
goes. I wanted to clarify. And all sorts of weird... It basically is like a combination dating sim / arena fighter. With Metabots. It reminded me a lot of, if anybody knows what I'm talking about, like the Gundam Build series. Like, it's literally just, you've got a robot, you can put new parts on it, you can run around and just beat the crap out of other robots. It was just an arena fighting robot game.
With 2D waifus
and
as your character.
I think if you beat a character with a finisher, it may or may not display a picture of her clothes falling off or some weird shit like that. I think that was actually a thing that happened. Yeah, I know, right? Like, is that not the most confusing thing ever?
But, like, that could have been a great waifu month thing, except it wasn't translated, and we're not going to be able to figure that out.
Yeah, it was never translated, unfortunately. If it was, we probably would have played it from waifu month.
Oh, I'm going to scroll up the chat a little bit, because there was talk about... Where was it? That's too far. Sorry, I'm finding it. I'm finding it. There we go. Digimon Survive. Shadika asked if we had heard of it. We have not. It's the next Digimon game that's coming out. We don't have a release, but there is a trailer. It's not world or story based, and the person who is in charge hopes that if it's popular, it can become a third kind of game. But basically, the decisions you make have consequence and effects of what your Digimon evolves into, and if people survive or die. Cool.
That's interesting, but what's the actual gameplay like? Like, what genre does it fall into?
Apparently there's a trailer. I don't know if links work in Twitch for stuff like that.
Maybe not a good idea to open it right now, but we can check it
Yeah,
later.
when we know the name of it, we can still find it. Yeah, no, I hadn't heard about that.
No, I hadn't either. I'm usually pretty good about keeping up on Digimon-related stuff. I know that there wasn't a game for, like, the last 2 years or something like that. I was wondering if they were actually going to announce something or if they were just going to let it sit for, like, ever. Because I know the last thing that they did, I'm pretty sure, was the Atmon stuff. And my understanding of Atmon is it literally was a massive, colossal failure. But I could be wrong.
I don't know. I know that people were, like, tentatively excited about Atmon's stuff.
I liked the idea, and I liked the way that it looked, and I liked everything about, like, the concept. And then it came out, and all I could think is, why isn't this on... Like, typically I don't like mobile stuff, but why isn't this on mobile? Like, this is the one thing where I would have been like, yeah, I could accept that being on mobile. And it was not on mobile, and I'm just like, what? Why? Wait, this is literally a Digimon game about mobile apps. Why is it on 3DS? I'm so confused.
Alright, Saint Mog just showed up and says, I feel so blessed that as soon as I get on Twitch, you guys are talking Digimon.
Yeah. Fucking Digimon's amazing. We were talking about Digimon because we were talking about how much we love the concept of... Well, I love the concept of Digimon, and Megan likes the concept of Digimon.
My relationship with Digimon was a complicated journey, and mostly just I keep wanting to fix it.
But how, for some strange reason, like, it's so good, and I love it so much, and it's so great, but then it has this one little thing in the back of my head that always just irks me around. And it's the thing where it does it's very fluid about evolution, which is fine, don't get me wrong, fluid evolution is great, but then when it comes to, like, evolution from one game to the other, most of the Digimon completely change, and it just gets impossible to tell what's going on. And it's like, if I want a specific Digimon, it's nice to, like with Pokemon, it's nice to know that I can follow a specific lineage that's the same every single time. It's rigid, it's set in stone, but then with Digimon, it's like, it's all over the fucking place. Doesn't even mean it's bad, it's just really hard to you know, keep track of things.
Yeah, one of the things that really makes me feel dedicated to Pokemon is that it presents a persistent ecosystem, which is also why I keep getting mad about things like Clink. It's like, this doesn't make sense. Yeah. But like a persistent ecosystem where things connect in ways that make sense and continue on from one game to the next. It's like, it's really fun to care about. And then Digimon does this thing where it's like, oh, this story's different from this story, and this is... Well, it works different in this one.
With the games, like usually with the games in the series, it's fine, because the explanation for that is Digimon is literally a multiverse. There are multiple universes, and the digital world for certain universes is the same, but the human world is different. Like, you've got the human worlds, which outnumber the digital worlds, and then the digital worlds are a step down, and then there's actually a world below that that's just servers, and you can go down to the very center. There is a center world in Digimon that has one inhabitant.
They don't really... I mean, the stuff that we've seen hasn't gone into that.
Doesn't... Yeah, I don't think we've ever, like, watched a series for Diggles that does that, but there is actually an iteration of that. And there's supposed to be an individual who's just living in it, who is regarded as just, this is kind of just possibly God. Nobody's really sure. It's just sort of a thing. Yggdrasil is something that he has complete control over, or she has complete control over, and it's never clear who the person is, and I think they've only shown up in, like, a single manga. And it's like, I desperately want it, like, 100, every part of my being wants it to eventually turn out to be, like, an alternate version of Fish Face. Like, I just want it to be like, yeah, no, guess what? Izzy, in another universe, grew up to just be God of everything. And it's like, yeah, thanks.
There's literally no reason that fucking kid shouldn't be omnipotent.
You mentioned it, like, when we were actually watching the series, and I think you put it in the Popka's write-up.
Oh, yeah.
If they had just left him alone at the beginning of the series inside of a tree...
I didn't notice that before.
I don't think he did originally. Maybe he only did one.
He's got a chicken nugget.
There's a point in the series near the very start where he finds a tree and he goes in and he slowly realizes that he can, like, manipulate stuff inside the tree by erasing marks and then making new ones. And he's slowly figuring it out, and then the other kids walk in and just drag him out. And you're like, if they left him in that tree, that kid could have done literally anything.
Yeah, okay, so it's not as interesting a journey, but that in the first episode, there's a tree. The thing with the marks on the wall, I think that's the power plant. But there's a tree that you can hide in the first episode. Yeah. It's hollow, and the fucking superbug can't get them in there. All you gotta do is have the other kids...
It's just a Kawagamon. Like, that shit's basic.
I don't care.
No, I know.
Just have the other kids set up a basic just understanding of the rules, have a camp. Just let the kid hack the world from inside that tree, because you're perfectly safe.
But yeah, no, just that concept is really good, because later on he does do things.
He hacks a whale.
The power plant is a big one, where he figures out that he can totally, like, manipulate things with the characters on walls. He hacks a whale at some point based on his understanding of the language for Digimon. And remember when he gets into, like, there's a Sphinx that he and everybody else gets into.
Oh, the off-model episodes.
Yeah, well, there's one that's really off-model and one that's really on-model, and it shows the same areas, and it's, like, really obvious. Oh my god,
that's the best.
But when he goes into there, he's trying to explain things to them, and they're like, we don't quite get it. And he goes, okay, hold on. And he pulls out his computer, he plugs it into a wall, and then pulls out a marker and just starts writing shit on the wall, and he has a whole fucking PowerPoint presentation start that he codes as he's talking to them about it. And
Since
it's like,
we're talking about the Sphinx episodes,
it's so cool.
Can I just scream clone over and over again for a second?
Right,
they made a clone.
They
cloned someone. They cloned a human.
Yeah, but then she dies.
Yeah, okay. They cloned someone and then they threw it in the trash the moment it could have been interesting.
That happens to more than one character in that series. Jerry technically gets cloned in the third series.
That's okay. Third series is fine, whatever. They had a clone of the least interesting character, and that could have been interesting, and they dispose of it before they could have given that character something cool.
Yeah, maybe.
She has nothing other than being the girlfriend. She has the capacity to be a good character, and they don't do it because she's got to be a love interest.
A lot of the movies try to make her into more of a character, and that's fine, but you're right. To some extent, they never stop being just a love interest.
You could have had her fight her own clone or teach it or something. Her thing was love. It's like, okay, here's a clone. Does it have the capacity to love? You've got to find out. Or beat it up. I don't care which. But they just delete it. They just get rid of it. It's like, nope, we're not having a plot thread here. They just don't.
But yeah, no, one of the things that I was just talking about earlier and that I've been thinking about for, like, the last day is just... I really want there to be a cohesive tree for Digimon, like, evolution, and it just doesn't exist. And I've been trying to sit down and just skim through things, and it's like, part of the reason I'm doing this is because I have a very weird way that I tend to do things sometimes. I'll get into moods, and I'll start projects that I eventually just give up on, but it's always a learning experience, and that's what makes it good for me. And recently I picked up something that I dropped a while ago, which was a tabletop Digimon game. So it's the concept of, like, I want to be able to play tabletop games. I want to be able to play tabletop literal Digimon. And that would be fucking sweet. And I'm looking at, like, trees, and I'm like, you know what? In order to make this work, you need a bestiary of like a suitable number of them, and they have to be connected via the tree. And guess what? There's no like actual set in stone tree, so you're not really gonna ever get that. And it's like you have to sit down and basically just have like a fan tree, which is not quite the same. It's actually not as good.
Also, if they kept that clone alive, then both of the boys could have had her.
I don't think that's a no.
I'm not saying that's good.
Oh,
also,
I didn't even
it's
notice
an
when you cut him open. Oh, was that what that noise was? Okay.
What?
Yeah, it was Tao drinking an E-tank. I thought it was when you cut the Otogaron open, it was dropping like it was making the noise for health increase.
Nope.
I thought it was like, oh, the Otogaron carbs or an E-tank or an item or something. And I was like,
nope.
oh shit. But
no, that was just Tao.
It was just Tao, which is still fine. Don't get me wrong.
Okay, so I'm gonna hold true to, if anyone's seen the Popka's second series epilogue I did
For
Digimon
Adventure 2.
I'm just gonna hold true to the idea that What's-Her-Face shouldn't go with anyone. She should just be able to be her own person. But if you had a clone and kept it alive, there wouldn't be a love triangle. I'm just saying.
There is, in all fairness, I mean, we started watching, we never finished it, but Try was a thing. And that was kind of like, it was supposed to be, I think, a reboot, basically, or like a reimagining of the canon, so it kind of almost takes the Season 2 stuff, like the Adventure 2, and kind of drops it in favor of, no, actually, this is true. And it was like, yeah, it was a little more realistic, and I feel like you liked it less for that, but it was like...
Also, the characters were, like, really bland.
They did kind of maybe take the characters and push them more into certain cliches. And
they're older
they made
characters
them slightly
now,
more
so,
adult,
like,
and it was like, oh, that's interesting as a concept.
No, it's not. Like, yeah. they took away the personality, but it's like, yeah, 10-year-olds have loads of personality. It's gonna be a little... They're more subdued as young... Well, they were still teenagers. Teenagers are still like, idiots who do dumb things.
They were, like, late teens in that, though.
Yeah. Like, they were on the verge of being, like, responsible, so kind of... It lost something.
You should not walk into a fucking aerial car, or, like, aerial dunk, my friend. Because I hit him right in the face when he did that, and I only got the mount because of it.
Yeah, no, like...
Poor guy.
Look, I'm just gonna assume that the epilogue I wrote is the proper canon, because it ends with them forming a summer camp in the digital world. And also that Spider-Girl gets to come back as a person.
Yeah, okay, that was actually something that you wrote in that I think a lot of people, if they had read that, probably would have agreed is a much better concept.
Yeah, it was not...
That character had a lot of stuff going on.
It was not a big part of the epilogue I wrote, but it was in the art... There's a summer camp art. Sorry for anyone both in the stream and on the YouTube archive that doesn't know what I'm talking about. It's on my blog. But just the big picture at the end where it's like, oh, here's everyone and they're helping a bunch of new kids at the summer camp. It's just in the corner, there's just a little girl who's basically just dressed up like a Gajinka of, what's that character's actual name?
Is it Arakunemon?
Arakunemon?
No, okay, no.
Azure.
Sorry, not. I guess that wasn't it. For some strange reason, my brain immediately went to Arakune.
Spider-Girl. Anyways, it's just a little girl version, basically. That might be it. Of her human disguise. Just like a little kid version of that, just sitting in the corner, just sort of there. And then I drew a full version to just make a different post about. It's like, oh, the Digimon she doesn't get to be reborn because she was deleted, but no one said humans can't come back or something like that. It was just like, oh, well, just, you could have an entire story there. I didn't make a post about this, but just in my head I was thinking, you've got a kid at summer camp who's haunted, basically. She's got a bunch of adults who are cool and maybe figured out what might be her deal, but aren't making a big thing about it.
Don't worry, it's just .hack GU, but for Digimon.
Oh, I don't remember. We didn't get through GU.
In GU, the main character, they don't immediately tell you. It takes a while for you to figure it out. The main character is a character who was vaguely a villain in the first series. He was actually a 10-year-old kid who was role-playing as an adult, and at the end of the series, he loses all of his memories of playing the world, and in GU, it's when he comes back and he's actually like a teenager, and he's playing the game properly, and he doesn't remember being a villain, but he totally was.
It's not quite what I was going with.
He was the edgelord guy. The what's his face? The weird, almost a ninja. Yeah, that.
No,
guy.
I know
Okay.
how dot hack sign goes.
Yeah.
Can I finish?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just the idea was just there's a bunch of adults who are cool and kind of know what's going on, and then they have to figure out the mystery. There's this little girl who's got basically just digital ghosts just sort of coming at her, and it's just like, oh, it's her brother, it's her father from another life, and they gotta figure out. It was like, you could make an entire thing about that, and then maybe, oh, she gets a Digimon and has to figure that shit out. Maybe you could do something that's, oh, the human half reincarnated one way, the Digimon half reincarnated another way, and then it's her Digimon, and then maybe they've got one of those person Digimon fuses where it just becomes the original Spider Lady. I don't know. But you could have done a lot with the idea, and she deserved to actually have a life where she wasn't just a minion whose technical brother would not stop hitting on her.
It's not her brother. He's a completely different thing.
It's still creepy. It's still really creepy. Also, the character in GU, like, we didn't get very far into that anime, but we did watch all of Dot Hack Sign. That character, like, once you realize what's happening, you can go back and looks like, oh my god, that is totally a little kid.
Yeah, he acts like a child.
He's just one of those typical PvP MMO idiots who just tries to gank you.
And he succeeds a lot. Like, that character's actually regarded as being super good.
But, like, there's times when people go to meet him to try and get his help for things, and when he's at the place they're looking for him, he's just, like, slashing at the air and making noises. He's just button mashing because he's bored. He's just sitting there and just making edgelord quotes at himself until someone comes and tells him what to do.
Yeah, when Megan says her brother, she's talking about Mummymon.
They were both made by the same guy who supposedly used some of his DNA to make their digital code. They're siblings.
No, they're not. I still don't feel like that's really correct.
Even if it's not her brother, he needs to step the fuck off.
Okay, maybe that though. Yeah, that I can agree with. But I don't know. It's just, it's weird. A lot of people, by the way, at least as far as I'm aware, don't really talk too much about the potential that Season 2 had that it didn't capitalize on, because a lot of people talk about Season 2 as being like one of the best, honestly. I think Season 3 is the best personally, but that's...
It's good. That's fine. It's good enough to be boring for me because I like bad things better than good things.
There's weird stuff in Season 2 that one of the writers rather tried to really push in, and he wanted to do more with, and then they didn't let him do. Like, anything involving the Dark Ocean is one guy. And he's writing episodes about it, and he's writing a bunch of other interesting stuff, and it's like he was trying to flesh out the concept of Digimon, and trying to flesh out the idea that, oh, it's a multiverse, so there should be universes that don't have things to do with that. And he was the guy who they basically gave the 3rd season to, also. And he was like, yeah, it's this guy and like 2 other dudes, and he's like, I'll sit down and write more. And he wrote a bunch of stuff that was, like, at the time, really unusual for Digimon. Like, he was the one who decided that there needed to be things in the digital world that weren't Digimon. Because it would make sense that not literally everything in there is exactly the same, stuff. So you get things like the Diginomes, which were entirely him going, why can't there just be things living here that aren't Digimon?
Did we figure out that Diginome is just Digimon, but the M and the N are switched?
It's Diginom when you write it out, yeah.
Okay, because that's actually really clever.
They appear in one of the Digivice things, or one of the VPATs rather, and they are listed as Diginom instead of Digimon, yeah. And it's actually really clever.